Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Carroll. Boy, do I have a treat for you guys today. I got Christina Shaw in the factory with me. Christina's been an agent for 26 years. You guys, if you've been to any conferences, you've probably seen her speak on stage. And she's been doing the business since 2009. Bought another book a couple of years ago. She lives in the great state of New York, which I recently traveled through. We'll talk about that a little bit on there on the podcast today. But Christina, I'm looking forward to this. I've been so excited. You do so much with social media. I know there's going to be so much information, so many nuggets that we unpack out of this episode. So on behalf of me and my entire team, welcome to the Sales Factory.
Thank you so much. I am pumped to be here. I think the world of you. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, hey, look, I want to hop right into this thing. I mean, you've been an agent. You've got some tenure. I'm curious, when was like the aha moment for you for social media? Because what I'm curious about, right, since I started Carroll Media in 2016, and it felt like for years agents are like, that social media thing's a fad, right? Now I feel like in the last since like COVID, like in 2020, it's like then everybody's like, oh wait, everybody's glued to their phones. It's like, well, they kind of been glued to their phones for a while, but like, I'm curious, when did you like hop on like the social media train to say, okay, cool, I'm going to start using this to build my brand? And in today's episode, guys, make sure you listen to this thing all the way through, because I'm going to dig into like what she's doing to work with agents, real estate agents, right? She sells insurance. She does a ton with real estate agents. She does a ton with mortgage. And so like, Christina, like when was the aha moment for you that you said, okay, social media is not a fad, I can use this thing to actually grow my business?
I love that question because I support a $13 million insurance agency 100% on my referral base. And 100% of that is my social media presence. So this is not
Wow.
bad. It is not going anywhere. But
Holy
I have to be
smokes.
honest. I was a late adopter. And I say that to maybe inspire whoever is listening. I remember my first daughter, who's 11, was born, and my now ex-husband and I were taking a walk. And he had mentioned some news. And I said, well, how do you know that? And he said, you have to get on social media. Like, this is ridiculous that you refuse to be in this space. But it wasn't until about 6 or 7 years ago that aha moment for my agency brand and to take my realtor base from like here to here. And I'm learning each and every day. By no means am I an expert, but I just think that it is the easiest way to establish brand, and it's the best way to do business. Like, my phone rings
Wow.
all day with referrals. I have fun. So
Wow.
the really long answer is about 6 years ago.
No, I mean the fact that you're being able to build and maintain and support your business, right? And the referrals, because we had Nick Saka on a prior episode, and if you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out. That episode was cool, full of information. An agent super successful out in Las Vegas said he's built this amazing business off referrals. He said he does like $500,000 in new premium a year off social, and it's cool because when I find the agents that get it, right? Like the ones that are like, okay, I'm not just dipping my toe in, like this has to be part of my marketing channels. This has to be part of my sales channel. What they tell me is like the referrals that come out of it and the business that you close is like some of the highest quality business, right? Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Because oftentimes, Christina, like I meet these agents and they're big dogs. I mean, they're doing millions and millions of dollars, but they're buying like 50 or 60 or $100,000 worth of leads every month, right? And then the next thing is like I ask them, I'm like, hey, what's your churn rate? Right? What's your lapse can rate? And they're like, a third. Like a third of their business leaves every year. Can you talk a little bit about social media and I know you use it. We'll get into your strategy. I want to tease these people along a little while. But can you talk to me a little bit about like the quality of business that you get when they come to you based on your brand, right? Versus just being like another agent that's doing an outbound dial on a cold lead.
Yeah, of course. Um, my retention, and I say this with like the most humble of hearts, is off the charts here in New York, which is tough being the climate that we're in. We're not a growth state for my all state agents listening. It's great business. They're calling and saying I was referred by a person that they trust or through social media and watching my journey, right? Because people do business with people, not like business robots.
I say that all the time. I wish I'm going to drop a sound. I think the money bag. There it is, the money bag. Because it's like cha-ching, take that one to the bank. Because I tell agents all the time, people buy insurance from people, not companies.
Yes,
Like
I'm a mom. I'm a single mom at that. Like I'm a community activist. I'm a real person dealing with real issues. And so my retention and the quality of the business, they're not, I used to buy internet leads way back in the day, and I was dang good at it because I wasn't, you would have to say like, I'm going to get a restraining order against you if you don't stop calling me. But it was exhausting. And that's where I kind of got tipped off to have this referral business and a brand because I thought I can't do this for the rest of my career. And the quality of the referral is so high, and there's no cost
mm,
to have a brand. I think there's an
oh.
extreme cost not to have a brand.
Well, I gotta drop. I'll drop. Take that one. Cha-ching. Take that one to the bank too, because she said there's no cost to have a brand, but there's an extreme cost to not having a brand. Wow. That one will be a hot take. That one will be in on a short clip there. That'll be a good hook. All right, so we can't keep them waiting forever. Let's talk about, because you and I talked about this in Chicago, right? We both spoke at the Midwest Agents Conference. We'll talk a little bit about like how you like targeting, doing some custom audiences, like targeting your current book of business. Because like once you brought that up at the Midwest, I was like, I kind of looked at my brother because some of the other big captives that we work with, it's like a no. You can't do that, right? But like we've got it cleared through Allstate and Farmers now, because when you were mentioning, retargeting your current book of business, I was like, how are they doing that and like not getting in trouble? We got it cleared, and so like we've actually done it for a couple of agents and they're loving it. So I'll share that strategy, what we're doing with that a little bit later here. But what was interesting to me, Christina, is you use social media to go get your referral partners, not like your direct consumer. You're not saying, hey, person that buys insurance, come buy it for me because I'm the best. You say, hey, real estate agent, hey, mortgage broker, let me come help you use social media. Let me come help. So I don't know your full strategy. So I'm hoping, if you're okay sharing that with us today, I want to lock in and kind of give you some space to kind of walk these agents through that are listening to this on how they can do it. And listen, I got guys that, from 13-year-old kids that just bought their first lawnmower and are starting a business, to guys running multi-million-dollar agencies and everybody in between, right? The Sales Factory helps me with my mission, which is to weaponize the next generation of business leaders and their teams. So anybody can take away what Christina's about to share with you, because every business has referral partners. Christina, share with us how you've utilized social media and how you're working specifically with agents and mortgage brokers.
Awesome. So I think the best part is that what you just said, that anybody can do it and every business has to market themselves. I don't care if you're an insurance agent, a real estate attorney, a CPA, you have to have a digital presence. So I feel really strongly on like taking two or three platforms and rocking them and being consistent. I like to say, like, we can't walk into the gym, go on the treadmill, and then be upset that we don't have the body that we so desire because we went one time, right? So it's the same thing with social. We have to show up consistently and deliver that same message, and then be who we say we are when that phone rings too. So I stay on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Would I love to be on 12 different platforms? And hopefully you could help me with my YouTube platform. But again, I'm just me. So I post religiously on my Instagram stories. Try to post like that 4 to 8 times a day. And I think that allows people to understand like who we are as an agency. What does a day in the life of Christina look like? I want people to know the stuff that's important to me. And I use my story to highlight that. Everybody has 30 seconds to post on their Instagram. Like, don't tell me you're too busy. It's okay if this isn't your strategy, but you're not too busy. Like, you would
Yeah.
never do direct mail and not return the phone call that you received from direct mail, right? Like, no. And then I just try to make videos that are and post on my reels that are like true to who I am, right? So I do a little insurance content, but I do try to talk a lot about being a mom and an entrepreneur and balancing raising children by myself and like that whole world. Because that's who I want to do business with, like-minded people, right? So
Absolutely.
you either connect with me or you say no thanks, and that's okay. And then on Facebook, I do my ads to my book and to my zip code to get that. Um, it's just like the cheapest way for my community to see who I am. And then
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, I use that as a place for thought leadership. I write some blogs. And I think specifically Allstate agents poo-poo LinkedIn for some reason. I get some really good business from LinkedIn. So if anybody's out there, maybe put your arms around it and hug it. It's a great platform. And you may agree. I feel like you don't have to put that much love into it as you do like an Instagram to see some success.
Mm. Yeah, this is great. I got some notes, so I want to double click on some of these things. So we'll start with IG stories. You mentioned, so it's that behind the scenes piece, right? It's kind of like here it is, and I tell agents are like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, just go take a selfie with one of your sales reps. Like that's it. Put your arm around them, take a selfie, and be like, this is Christina. She's been with me for 13 years. Love her to death, right? Like, send us a message, and she can help you with your insurance. Like it. I think sometimes they just like overcomplicate
We
what it needs to be.
overcomplicate it as entrepreneurs, right? Like we make it more, share your favorite quote, share your cup of coffee. I tell this story that and I think I said this on stage.
I was gonna say, share this, guys. Tune into this right now because she's about to share with you guys this little coffee story that she shared in Chicago, and it was like I was like, "Damn, that's slick." She's got a cool little play there. So yeah, share that with them, Christina.
With the bananas and the suits, or like, so I posted, I thought I bought 5 bananas, but I bought 5 pounds of bananas. And so I took a photo and I was like making fun of myself on my story, right? And we're all humans, we mess up. And I got over 70 DMs of like banana bread recipes. Oh my God, I did that. Call my buyer, call my buyer, call my buyer. Business came from a post about bananas.
Yeah,
And like so many examples of that. For the sake of time, I won't like get into it, but it's so true when you're just like your authentic self. I take pictures with my team or my referral partners and I tag them and then they share it. Like today on my story, I talked about how I was taking a walk, sweating to death because it's like 1 million degrees in New York. And a mortgage banker shared it and was like, that's my girl. Like, how powerful is that?
yeah. And you mentioned too, was there something around like gift cards you did like with a coffee shop or something? You did like it was almost like a cocktail hour, but it was at like at a coffee shop, right? Like you just kind of like ran up a tab, like that was pretty cool. Can you share that one with them?
Yes, and everybody should copy this because it's so inexpensive. I call it Love You Latte Happy Hour, like LATTE. Feel free to copy it. And what I do is I pinpoint either a realtor or mortgage banker that I either work with or I want to work with. And we go to a coffee house. The best hours are 11 to 12 because like that morning rush is over and the
Mm,
person may be more willing to stop and say thank you than like when they're darting to work, especially here in New York. And I buy coffee for the entire anybody who comes in that hour on behalf of the mortgage banker. So then when
nice.
the customer comes over to say thank you, my mortgage banker has an opportunity to interact. But the real meat is the social media that the mortgage banker has. Like I create their images for them and I say, post this and tell people you're buying the community coffee. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. And the cost is less than $100. I mean,
Wow.
coffee is not expensive. Well, these days everything's expensive, but and then we take selfies, we post it on our story. So it's just like this engine that kind of keeps feeding itself. And not to mention, it's fun. And you have a one-to-one time with somebody that you want to cultivate a relationship with.
Yeah, and so you basically are turning the coffee studio in or the coffee house into a coffee studio, right? Because you're just like you're taking pictures, you're getting content, you're like, I share this often is that there are two different worlds that simultaneously happen, right? And I'm not getting like this isn't like the Matrix. It's like real life, right? There's the real world, like which is real time, whatever is happening. If you're at the Bands and Barbecue event, like the people that are there, like that's real life. It's actually happening. But then there's an online world that is like 10 times bigger because it's all the people that knew about Bands and Barbecue but didn't go. And when agents are like, yeah, I'm sponsoring that event. I paid $500 so that we could go put a little pop-up tent up and shake babies and kiss hands. No, just joking. Shake hands and kiss babies, right? Some of you guys caught that. And so the idea is like, they do that, but then they don't capture any content, right? They're not taking selfies, they're not making videos, they're not doing any of that. So like they could get so much more out of what they're already spending. A lot of social media you don't have to spend any more money on, right? Now,
I love that you're saying this.
it's like we'll talk about strategies a little later in this podcast because like I'm excited to get into like the paid ad stuff because like that's what we specialize in. But there's so much organic things that you guys can do as agents or as business owners, as entrepreneurs that would maximize what you're already doing. You go have a meeting with a prospect or a client, document it. That's where that document that I always talk about in our Secret Agent Blueprint webinar, which if you guys want to check that out, you can go to secretagentwebinar.com. But if you, a quick little plug there, but if you guys, if you're making the effort to be out in the community, right? You're not just like holed up in your office, then use that opportunity to make content because nothing bad is going to come from it. Like that's what I don't get, Christina, is like there is so much upside and like little to absolutely no downside, but agents are just so reluctant. What do you think is keeping more of these agents from like getting like saying, all right, cool, social media is here to stay. I got to come up with a strategy that I can stick to. What's stopping them?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I love what you're saying because agents are really great people. Like they're in the community, you're doing it. So when you document it, what happens is more people want to work with you. So the event that you just mentioned, like you're doing your realtor event and you're shaking hands and maybe there's 50 people there. But when you document and you post all those selfies, all the people who weren't there are thinking, oh my God, that Christina Shaw is everywhere. I want to work with her. People want to work with busy, happening people, not the dud sitting in the office. So when you're
Bingo. There's a hook.
posting it, yeah, like when you're
Hit the cash
posting,
register on that one, man. Holy smokes.
when you're posting your content, you are like organically and very easily growing your referral partners by just sharing what you already did. I think there's two reasons people don't get involved. One is the fear of like, where do I begin and what do I do? It seems overwhelming, and I get that, right? I think that's a part of it. But then I also think there is still a large belief that this doesn't work. And I laugh. I'm like, I'm raising kids on my own and running an agency. Do you think that I am doing this because I have nothing else to do? Like I'm hoping I eat lunch before dinner tonight. Like, of course this works. So anybody who's listening to this, like you got to rip the Band-Aid off and stop with the excuses. I don't like how I look, sound. Nobody does. But the people who are doing this really well, they're writing a lot of variable comp. Like there's no reason not to be doing this.
Yeah.
And
I,
there's
I, I,
people like you teaching them how to do it and
I,
managing it. So then there's really no excuse.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate the shout out. That checks in the mail. So I think that's important that you said that nobody likes other because I think sometimes people get so enthralled with the like one troll, right? That they forget that like there's also 20 people that were like, hey, 10 of them want is new business and 10 of them are your current customers, right? Because we always talk about this. There's three audiences on social media for those of you that are taking notes, right? You've got your current customers, right, that you can talk to so that you can lower your churn rate. You can build the relationships. You can build those long-term business relationships. So your current people, you've got your prospects, right? The people that haven't bought from you yet. I always like to add that yet in there, right? I always have a positive outlook. There's people that are out there that haven't bought from me. And then there's the referral partners. And Christina, that's why I was so excited to have you on, because I have not seen anyone else do the referral partner side of this game like you have. And that's not fluff. When I talked to Nick Saka, that guy's probably one of the best in the game at making. He had a post the other day. And again, it wasn't insurance. It was like white people hiking versus black people hiking, right? And like that thing popped. It's like 12 million views on Instagram. And I was like, hey, I DM'd him. I was like, Nick, what was the lift from it, right? Because it's sometimes you got to be careful not to just chase the clout of views or going viral. But he was like, dude, I picked up like 20,000 followers. And now an agent's like, what's the point of that? The point of it is if you're making organic content, and I see agents doing this all the time, they're paying people to make content, paying people to post content, and they got like 100 followers. You're not getting anywhere with that. Nobody's seeing that. And so by adding to your follower count, you're now seeing it. What Christina does a good job of, and this is the gangster move, is when she does these events, she tags people. So she doesn't have to have a large following, because if you're tagging people, hey, I'm at the coffee shop with this mortgage guy. Hey, I just had this realtor, right? And then they reshare it on their story. Now you're what I like to call cross-pollinating audiences, right? They're going to go, and somebody like just Christina, just like you said, like, oh, that's Christina with the big hair. I see her all the time, right? It's like, that's Christina with it. Which, by the way, if you guys don't have a slogan or a hook or something, right? Like, Christina with the big hair is like, that just, when I heard you say that in Chicago, I was like, hell no. It's so memorable, though. And so I just, I wanted to touch on those couple of big points there. I love your lattes, cost less than $100. That is such a gangster program. Agents can start doing that right now. Small businesses, that's what I love about this, is these social media strategies. When I have a top agent on, the stuff that they're sharing, that works for the little kid starting a lawn care business too. That works for the attorney. That works for the HVAC guy. Like, it works for all these businesses. Like, social media is such a powerful tool. Like, it's my mission to get out there and, like, our mission is to build world-class AI tech and trainings and teams, right? So that we can eliminate the blind spots of agents. I think a lot of agents don't run as fast as they could in their agency. They don't have the velocity they could have because they have blind spots. And so then there's not the trust or the the belief in that. So it slows them down. So we hope to be able to eliminate some of that. Let's talk about Facebook. I want to switch this from IG over to Facebook. You're talking about ads on zip codes. That's what we do. I love that. Absolutely. Hammer, carpet bomb. And then ads to your current book of business. Christina, I'm curious your take on this. A lot of times when agents cancel with us, right, they'll run a campaign for a couple of months, and then they go, DJ, I'm just not seeing anything. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not seeing anything? I showed 50, 60, 70,000 ads, 250,000 ads in your local 4 zip codes. Like, that's what you paid me to do. Like, you can't go boost a post and get those kind of numbers. You have to engineer them the way we engineer them. And so it's like, I had an agent, she was with me for a year, and she's like, I just don't think it did much for my business. I said, we showed 1.2 million ads in your local market. There's no way that did nothing for your business. How can I rationalize with these agents? Help me, Christina. Help people understand. Like, if I send out 1.2 million direct mail pieces, that costs $600,000, right? Like, it costs 10 G's to do that on social media. Help me level with the people.
Oh gosh, I bang my head against the wall with this too. I'm going to quote, and I'm sure I'll butcher the quote, Gary Vaynerchuk, love him or hate him. I love him. What's the ROI of your grandmother? And I love that because for some reason, us insurance agents, we're obsessed with like, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? And that's a really complicated one with social, right? And so that agent, what she is not understanding is all of those eyeballs, people are walking in her office and the sale is easier because they knew her, they saw her, they touched and felt her through social. And so maybe they were $50 more a year, but the customer bought because it's a person in the community from your ad. They're never going to say that. You can't measure that. You can't say, you know what, I've been watching you for a year and I really like that you do scholarships at the high school. So I'm willing to come into your office and buy. Nobody's telling you that. No,
right?
Like, and then if that agent took it a next step and like, so you're doing the paid ads and then she's doing her like IG stories and blogging, like forget about it. So that's just sometimes we just have to move on from those people, but it's a pain point. Like I get it too. Like, Christina, I'm just focused on writing business right now. I'm like, I'm confused. I write a lot more business than you, and I'm not as stressed out as you because of my social media. Like, what am I missing here? So I get it.
I'm sorry, I write more business than you. Maybe you should listen to me.
Yeah.
Get a Blue's Clue.
Yeah, and I don't say that in a, I say that like, because like you said, you're on a mission. I'm on a mission. I want every Allstate agent. Think about if every agent or every business owner had a strong digital platform. That's where our eyeballs are, like all
100%.
night. I mean, I fall asleep like one more TikTok, one more TikTok, and I'm like, go to bed.
Yeah. You mentioned Gary Vee. Andy, I want to cut to that interview that I actually did with Gary Vee. So we'll slide this in, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, check this out.
I work with agents, real estate agents and insurance agents. And dude, even to this day, I'm still getting pushback that they're like, oh, I don't have time to do it, or I don't see the value in doing it. Can you just talk to those people right now that like are still on the fence with social media about that?
Honestly, bro, I'm very, very not passionate about convincing people that in 2024 have a debate about social media.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't have any energy for it. Like, I'll just let them deal with the consequences of their non-action. All my contemporaries, lots of the other social media experts, definitely the advertising medium, continues to pound and say Facebook down, organic reach down, and I just sit there and laugh. Let me tell you what I'm about to do coming off stage. I'm literally gonna walk out of here right now, get in the cab, and buy more Facebook stock. Every time I do a talk, it's stunning to me how good of an ad product it is. Facebook continues to be much stronger than people think.
Is there ever such a thing as putting out too much content?
And no in the branding game of marketing. So I say no. The great underpriced opportunity in our society is within 7 to 15 platforms that are apps on the mobile device. The biggest thing that I'm fascinated by is the amount of people in this room's ability to say, not my customer, not my industry, not my demo, without recognizing how unbelievably underpriced the attention is. I live a life today where I spend 3 hours with 3 different clients, spending all my time trying to convince them to move their money from television and billboards and take that money and spend it on Facebook and Instagram. Ads are underpriced. The cost of spending $1,000 on these platforms to get people to see something is underpriced. I really am desperate for people to understand how wild this is. Even if you suck shit on camera, have zero charisma, are only 8 days in the industry, this will work because it is such underpriced attention that the ROI will work. Imagine being a common sense human being in September 2022 and not understanding that brand is built on social. The fastest and most significant way to grow a business in 2023 and 24, it's called social media. The 100% correlation to opportunity in 2024 is how you produce content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snap, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, period. I don't have any energy for it.
Christina, I actually had the opportunity to talk with Gary Vee, and I mentioned this to him that agents, were telling me like, oh, I don't see the ROI or whatever, and he's like, dude, just have conviction. Don't try to convince them. Like and I asked him, I said, what can you say? And he said, listen, in 2024, that's Gary Vee, right? He's like, I have no energy. So my team actually made a cool little montage. We went back over the last 10 years and found clips of Gary talking about how like Facebook ads are so powerful to build your brand. And like, that's kind of where I'm at with it too, is like, when a boat capsizes and the Coast Guard gets lowered in, they're trained to save the people that swim to them. right? You can't go off into the abyss going, wait, don't swim out there. You're going to get eaten by a shark. And so like we've adjusted our focus some a little bit too, because, the other thing that Gary shared in that clip was he said, the older agents that don't get it, or they do get it, they're just lazy and they don't want to adapt, right? They're going to get their lunch eaten by the young up-and-comer, right? A Nick Saka is going to come in and wipe out the largest agent in Las Vegas because people are like, dude, that's that guy that goes viral on TikTok all the time. And I get it. It sounds so stupid. It sounds so dumb that someone would buy insurance just because Nick made a funny hiking video, right? That's the world we live in. Hashtag Hawk to a girl. Hello, pay attention to what's going on, man. Social media is real. This is not something that's just like, you just dibble-dabble in anymore.
And it's every business. And I love what you just said about the Hawk to a girl, because last night, so my boyfriend is a divorce attorney, like hands down, worst job in the world. And so he's on the phone.
That's a good clip, Andy. Make sure that'll be a hook at the beginning of a clip.
So he's on the phone with a prospect last night. And again, it's like a highly emotional job, of course. And they said, oh, I saw that you were at visiting weekend with your son. And it was your son's birthday. He's a little older than me. He is of the generation, like, why would I have this present? He hasn't fully been sold that, like, you must be on social. And so he hangs up. I go, oh, and he goes, okay, your point, I get it. And like, he has a podcast about like family law stuff, and people will say, oh, I listened to your podcast before I called. And I'm like, this is the world we live in. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And by you not adapting to it, the world doesn't care. Like, they will pass you by. Yeah. Exactly. I tell agents all the time, I say, listen, the agent that doesn't want to have a social media presence in 2024, 2025, and on to the next couple of years, by the end of this decade, right? Like if you haven't established your platform, like you were mentioning here, you have to have a digital presence is what you said. The ones that don't have that by the end of the decade, they're going to be the plumber that in 2010 said that the internet's a fad, so I don't need a website, right? And then 5 years later, by 2035, you're like, why am I going out of business? I don't understand where this came from, right? And it wasn't a yesterday, last week, last year thing. It was for a decade. You ignored the trends, and hate it or love it, I personally love it. Right, Gary, the word Gary uses all the time is a meritocracy, right? Like the market gets to decide. If you have good shit, you put out good content, you provide a great service, you win in business. It really is not that difficult. I wish I would have known that earlier on in life, was that business really isn't that hard. Show up when it's like it's all the shit that our grandparents told us that we're like, there's that old guy, that old head, they've been saying that shit for years. But it's like, no, show up when you say you're going to show up, do what you say you're going to do, and do it with a smile on your face and be pleasant to be around. Dude, you're 80% of the way there.
Most people can't even do that. And that's what's so great is like, and be who you are when they call, right?
Authentic, yeah.
Yes. Because that's felt, I think, through social.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, let's face it, man. Some of these agents, it's the same agents that are like, oh, you can't find good people out there. Recruiting's a tough gig. Oh, yeah? What happened? Man, I've went through 7 people already this year. It's like, maybe the problem's you, not them, right? It's like sometimes that's a hard pill for people to swallow, but I'll digress. We'll save that for oh, sorry, go ahead.
How do you handle like getting somebody to be who they are and giving them that permission? So like just be natural.
Yeah, I think there's one of 3 ways to play in this space, and so this will be a really good clip for the team. So there's 3 types of entrepreneurs that are going to get into social, right? You've got the people like you and I that are like, absolutely, let's do a podcast, let's get clips, I'm all in, I want to be the brand, I want to be the face, let's do it, I'm here to, it's like, I'm all in, right? You've got those people. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got some of these agents that are like, I really despise it. I don't even really want to have a Facebook page, but they've come to terms with the fact that it's like, but I got to be there. I might not be on Facebook. I may not want to scroll endlessly. I may not watch TikToks till I fall asleep. My phone falls and hits me in the face. but my customers do. I realize it, so boom. And I think those are great agents for us to work with because we're like, cool, man. We'll post for you 5 days a week. We'll make some content that is not super personal, but looks good, so that if they go to find you on Facebook, you're there. And we'll run some paid ads to get you in front of people that have no idea who you are, right? I think that's a piece. That's an agent. And then you got somebody that's in the middle that is like, all right, I'll try to do some stories. I'll try to make some organic content. What we have found, Christina, is I encourage them, hey, let us handle the paid side because it's very difficult. You got to get in, you got to engineer, you got to do creative.
Yes, impossible. I wouldn't want no part of that.
But what I've found is it's actually a company culture hack. So if you get your team involved, if you're not super confident, right? Like if you're scared, like think about like a girl going to the bar. Why does she go? She goes with her girls. Now they're going to have a good time, right? It's the same situation. Like there is comfort in a group setting. And so make content with your team and make it a theme. A perfect example of this, if you guys want to go check her out, and maybe Andy, if we're on the YouTube video, we can slide in her IG profile. Carmen Ritz, she's down in the Carolinas. She worked with me, Christina, she's a State Farm agent. She worked with me back in like 2016, maybe it was like 2017, 2018. And I was like, Carmen, you gotta make content. You're pretty. You have that Southern drawl. Like it's like people will watch your stuff, right? I can't do that with Bill. That's like the 80-year-old overweight agent. They don't want to watch him as much. So it's like, you got to play to your strengths. And I'm like, Carmen, make content. She's like, right. Didn't really. She's synced up with like a local company that comes in and helps her make content. She's making them now with her team. She's doing trending reels, right? Her content's exploded. Her exposure's exploded. She's got her ads back on with us, so we're driving new eyeballs to her. And so it's cool to kind of see these agents go from, I just need to be there on the platform, to now kind of buying in. And then it is getting to that place where it's like, all right, cool, I'm going to manage this. Maybe you're going to hire somebody, right, that will come in and help you with it, whether it's remote, maybe it's in-house. I tell people all the time, Christine, go to the local high school. You want to give back to your community? Go find the senior high school cheerleader and have her come help you with your social media. And the reason why I say this is because, like, boys are knuckleheads still in high school. So if you have a girl that has extracurricular activities, she's got some responsibility, that's the perfect job for $15 an hour to come work with you for a couple hours each day just to bang on social media and help get your presence out there. And you can give back, and she's going to know way more stuff than you're going to be able to figure out on social media anyway.
I love what you said. You said something like, I don't do my taxes. I have a CPA. I don't clean my home. I have a cleaning service. So it is okay, all state agents listening, to hire you to manage this. For some reason, sometimes we have like a hiccup with that. But when you step back and think about all the people that allow you to just do what you do really well, if this isn't your jam, then outsource it. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, man, good stuff. I'm writing that down. Do you do your own taxes?
Yeah, like, I don't know why we're like all of a sudden like, no, we must do this. Like you said, to manage your Facebook ads, that's a talent too. It's not only like grueling, in my opinion. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. And I'm very proud to say that my team, the part of around our mission of, building world-class AI technology, training, and teams, that's my team internally. We'll help train team members, that are on agents' staff as well. But, like, my team, we're so good, and, like, every quarter our numbers get better. This is, like, we don't run what I call a set-it-and-forget agency, right? Like, you can go hire a 22-year-old kid that's like, yeah, I got a social media marketing agency. It's like, how many team members? I'll do it all myself. It's like, dude, he's going to set up a campaign. He's going to, like, never look at it again and just keep billing you until you finally cancel. We get better numbers every single quarter, and to this day, and I say this publicly, I will put it up there, there is not a single company out there that can bring me their reporting, their dashboard, and dollar for dollar on media buy outpace us on impressions and traffic. That's why we built our custom dashboards. We started with engineering analytics. That's the core function of our business. And so it's always fun when we're able to, like, say, hey, look, agents leave, they go try another vendor. I'm like, go ahead. I'm going to leave your dashboard up for you free of charge so that, like, we can compare apples to apples, because our tagline is the numbers don't lie. That's the great thing about digital, right? Christina, you can make 4 pieces of content. You can come back a week later and you go, oh, wow, that one with the cat really popped. Like, all right, the rest of them, I need to make more content with a cat. Like, that's just what my audience wants, right? Or the coffee shop, that pops. All right, cool, I need to make more content around a coffee shop. So this is good stuff. I want to circle back to LinkedIn because that's not a platform. We're starting to get asked more about it, but I'm curious, like, you said thought leadership, writing blog posts, focused around that. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I have a site, imwithshaw.com. Honestly, it makes me cringe a bit. It's not like the prettiest, greatest site there is. However, the reason it's there is to host my blogs. And every time I go to like redesign it, I'm like, well, what am I going to spend the money for? I need a place for my blogs. So what I do is I write 4 to 6 blogs a month. And to me, that's at least, I try to post 3 times a week on LinkedIn, 2 to 3 times. So I know if I have 4 to 6 blogs, I have one piece of content up each week. And it's a lot, like maybe I'll educate about flood insurance, but a lot of times, like my little daughter is at sleepaway camp. Let me tell you, I'm an Italian. We don't do sleepaway camps, but my ex-husband and my boyfriend are Jewish. They do sleepaway camps. So I am blogging how this blows my mind, this concept. I was at visiting day and I was just like, I got to sit down and write content because this is wild. So like, that's what I'm going to post today on LinkedIn, my experience as a first-time mom with my daughter who's 9 being away for 7 weeks. Nothing to do with insurance.
7 weeks.
7 weeks. 7 weeks. She's in the Berkshire.
I'm thinking like I went to church camp when I was like 10, but that was like for like a long weekend. Like,
no, this is 7 weeks and like $1 million. So it's so like, so I write about things that I think will again draw people to me. I write about like how I truly believe that when we take care of ourselves, we could run a better business, right?
Ooh.
Like self-care is not selfish. That's a big slogan I say. So I post that on LinkedIn. Then not every Sunday, but I try my best. I do set it up Sunday and I make a post about like, hey, these are all the ways we could interact this week. So I'm in like this amazing BNI chapter in Manhattan on Wednesdays. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Like that's nuts. I will invite you to be my guest. Like I share ways that we could do business. I think it's a really great way. People have real conversations on LinkedIn. You know, you DM somebody on Instagram and it's quick. Like you're not having a whole chat. But on LinkedIn, you can say like, hey, do you want to get a cup of coffee? Do you want to do a Zoom? There's a higher tolerance for that. I think it's a great easy platform to meet referral partners. I don't know.
Do you think it's
if
because
like,
it's more professional? Like it's more of like a white collar type platform than
Yes.
say like a Facebook or an Instagram?
I think like they say like the user has a higher median income, a higher education level. So if you're in the referral partner space, I think it's awesome. I'm not really going there like to meet a customer. I'm going there to establish myself as a thought leader in the insurance world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love that. Very cool,
yeah.
man. All right, and then lastly, before we wrap up here, we only got a few minutes left, and we're definitely going to have you on again. This has been so much fun, and I think there's a ton of takeaways from this. And I don't know how we're going to do it, Andy, but like I've been taking notes on my iPad. It'd be so cool if we could like add this on like Coach Carroll page, like, hey, download the PDF right here from Coach Carroll's notes. That would be kind of cool. So we'll work on trying to figure that out for you guys. And again, if you haven't dropped a review on the podcast, please do so. It helps us get in front of more people so that we can continue to help people out. I want to talk about, which is probably the coolest thing that I don't think a lot of agents know about. Christina talked about this in Chicago. We've cleared this through compliance, so it's totally like legal and on the up and up. You guys can export your customer databases and run these ads to only those people, right? So when Christina talked about Facebook ads, she talked about zip codes. We call that carpet bombing, right? Like we're like, hey, it's so cheap because people are like, oh, you mean I could run a motorcycle ad to only people that have motorcycles? I'm like, yeah, but that's like 200 people in your market. Like, let's just hit everybody. Like it's so cheap. Just make sure that because it's not always. I can see. Man, I'll have to share a screenshot next time it pops up on my Facebook memories where I was getting like 23-cent CPMs. So like to show 1,000 ads on Facebook, it was like 23 cents. Last quarter, I just did our Q2 wrap up. It was about $3, still super cheap to show 1,000 ads. But with the carpet bombing, that's one strategy. The custom audiences, I wanted to share with you, Christina, because we did this with the Biscos. They're down in Texas. I don't know if you know them or not, but we came up with a strategy where we took their entire database, uploaded that as a campaign, and I ran a newsletter. So they're a husband-wife combo. They made a really nice video that was like, hey, here's your quarterly newsletter. If you're seeing this, you're one of our customers, blah, blah, blah. And they're a big agency. They got like 9 salespeople. So a lot of their customers never see them, right? So it's a great way to get visibility on that. And then we did 2 other cross promotions. So we took their list of monoline auto, so they only had auto, no home, and we took their monoline home with no auto, and we made specific videos around that. Christina, we were spending $1 a day. It was not expensive because the audience was so small. I looked at the stats in the past 2 months. I can't remember which one it was, but like say call it the monoline home with no auto, and their message was like, "Hey, you have your home insurance with us? You don't have your auto? Click the button below, send us a message. Let's chat and see if we can save you some money, like give you some discounts." That audience was like 1,200 people, right? Like 1,100 or like 1,000 people had seen the ad 17 times. So like literally every other day that these people are getting on Facebook, boom, there's their insurance agent again, right? So it's super cost effective. Are you doing anything like that? Like what's your strategy around that? I wanted to share that with you and get your take on it because that's something we came up. Once we got it cleared through compliance, I'm like, holy smokes, people ought to start here first and then go, cold traffic.
It's like one of those things that it's so easy that it sounds complicated, but think about, I'm in New York, so I have to write a lot of life insurance because we're what's considered a profitability state. Why not talk to your customers for, like you said, no money? Hey, this is something I could do for you. That way, when they're calling into the office and my staff is saying, hey, by the way, where's your life insurance? This is not the first time they have heard it. They've heard it from me, their agent. So not only are you delivering the ability to sell more, but now you're resonating with your customer. They're seeing you. So think of like all your customers that have auto and home with the proper limits of liability that don't have an umbrella policy. Why aren't you giving an ad to them saying, hey, home values are through the roof right now. You have a ton of equity. You are a candidate for an umbrella policy. Boom, you'll sell 40 tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that.
Right?
I knew you had some up your sleeve that you could share.
Well,
So that's beautiful, man.
If
That's
you
awesome.
told me I was ever going to sell pet insurance, I'd be like, you're out of your dang mind. Well, again, fast forward to a state where we don't sell car insurance. We don't sell this. We don't sell that. I'm talking about pets. I'm horrified. And my best friend goes, you're going to do really well because people love their pets. Like I watched your video on pets and I go, oh my God, she's right. So I run ads about pets because my team doesn't have the time to review your policy, talk about life insurance, talk about pet insurance, our referral program, run ads about your referral program to your book of business.
Yeah.
Woo.
Drop the cash register on that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, Christina, if people are looking to connect with you, this has been so much fun. How can they find you online? Is it ChristinaWithTheBigHair.com? Like, you need that domain name, by the way. We got to figure out who owns that and go get that from. How can they find you on socials if they want to connect with you?
The best way would be my Instagram. I'm with Shaw. Or they can send me a Facebook request, and I have the best phone number, 516-900-1234. When the lady gave that to me, I'm like, oh, I'll take that immediately. And so people go, I have to get a pen. I go, no, you can remember this.
I love it. Awesome. We'll link that up on the page as well, guys, along with all of these notes that I took inside of here. And if you're an agent and you're watching this and you need help, reach out to us. Send us an email, support@carroll.media. Email me, dj@coachcarroll.com. If you're an Allstate agent and you're watching this and you're like, hey, I want to retarget some of those audiences, we can do that for as little as $100 a month. It's super cost effective. So reach out to us. We'd love to help you guys with that. Christina, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming to the Sales Factory industry and pouring into my audience. I know they're going to enjoy this podcast, and we just, man, I can't say how much fun. I knew this was going to be a killer podcast. The hour flew by.
I know.
But
I'm
thank
like,
you.
We have to do this again. We have so much more to talk about.
I know. Hey, look, what I'm realizing is we're going to have guests back. Like, I don't have to have an endless list of guests. Like, the top agents in the country are the top agents in the country. Like, let's just have them on more frequently, right? Like, nobody's mad. It's like, oh, Tom Cruise is on Oprah again. They're like, oh my God, Tom Cruise on Oprah again, right? It's the same situation here. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to have you on the podcast again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, if you're listening to this, you made it all the way in, thank you so much for tuning in with us, hanging out. Listen, leave a review, please, on whatever platform that you're listening on this, listen to the podcast on. It helps us get in front of more people. And until next time, I'm Coach Carroll. Hustle, it's worth it.